Well, this is the story of the morning. Elfyn Evans has come through the second stage of the day, which is stage 12. He's reporting some kind of transmission issues. He lost a minute and 28 in there. Desperately bad luck for Elfyn Evans and Scott Martin. I can hear they're on the phone to the team. Let's come round this way and have a look. Oh, there's a very, very strong smell of oil. That's transmission oil I'm smelling. Let's have a look at what's going on here. We'll give them some space, obviously. Come down this way, Brento. Let's take a look from here. What's going... Oh, jeez.
The thing is, the drive shaft's not actually moving, is it? Oh yeah, it is, because the wheel's fucking turning. Rui.
You can see the oil. He's talking to Rui.
What's happened, right? I'm just trying to move the shaft here now. The tripod has like wedged itself between the engine casing and the subframe. And the shaft is like sitting in the middle of that. So it's almost like the tripod is like holding the shaft in place.
Because it wasn't vibrating on the road section.
So this is quite encouraging. They clearly know what the issue is. They're talking to the engineers back in Toyota Central in Jyväskylä, in the service area, trying to work out. It sounds as if maybe there's been an impact. Something has compressed, as they talked about the tripod there. Brento, there's a lot of oil there. There's not a lot of obvious damage apart from the oil, but clearly they've identified where the issue is, Brento.
Yeah, you know, you can smell the gearbox oil as you're coming up. That pungent, oily smell. That's noticeably the gearbox oil, not anything else. Seeing a little bit on the ground, not seeing a ton out and about on the sump guard. So, I mean, it could be a slight leak. It doesn't seem like it's anything. Maybe they've lost some. It's either they've lost a very large amount and there's not much left to drip, or it's just a slow leak.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. It sounds to me like... no, you're a bit forward. You want to come up a touch? The tripod is out of the gearbox. So, guys, just explaining the urgency here. It's a reasonably... What's kind of average length road section this? They have a certain amount of time, obviously. And there's a refuel after this, then they go into the Onampoya stage. So it is very, very, very clearly, as all rallying is, dictated by times, dictated by, you know, getting to the right place at the right time and going as fast as you can. You know, obviously, they feel as if they have a little bit of time to work on it. Lucky they've got good phone reception out here, and they can talk to the team. You know, with not new smartphones, but smartphones, you can FaceTime, you can show the team exactly what's going on there.
Because we need an answer. Are we trying to clamp this with?
Just leave it, maybe. Add some stuff to the mix.
Yeah, you just carry it the way it is.
Don't clamp it then.
No, because it's jammed in between the cross member and the engine.
Well, it seems that way, yeah. I can't seem to move it myself.
Yeah.
And it stopped vibrating after the stage. Like, it wasn't vibrating.
No, but it's because you're not putting strain through the job.
Maybe.
So here's the thing. Elfyn Evans is perhaps, out of all our top rally drivers, is the most proficient mechanic and engineer. He spent his whole life around cars with his dad in the workshop back home in Wales. He spent a whole lot of time at M Sport working in the workshop at M Sport there. He knows he could rebuild this whole car probably on his own. He knows how to work quickly, efficiently and successfully on whatever the issues might be. You know, every rally driver has to have a really good understanding, but Elfyn Evans has more than good. He's got an excellent understanding of how all these things work technically, and that is why he's working away on this. Let's have a closer look here. Come in this way, Brento. Then we come. Let's get a closer.
Kind of peeking in there and seeing and hearing them talk about the clamps and whatnot. It looks like maybe the axle boot has come separated at the gearbox. So you are seeing some axle grease kind of thrown around in the wheel well a little bit there. But we are also smelling that gearbox oil. So I'm not sure if the axle maybe snapped within, but it still seems to be rotating a bit.
What is this A-frame he's talking about?
The A-frame, I'm not sure the exact geometry there, what it is, maybe one of the arms. But it does seem like maybe one of the axle boots has also separated from the gearbox.
Okay, let's just watch then. And, you know, it's fascinating listening into the conversation between Elfyn and Rui, the engineer, back in Jyväskylä, in Paviljonki, in the service park. It is purely a voice call right now. They haven't got There we go. Let's see, listening.
Where's the other Jubilee though? Are all these Jubilee the same thread, Louis?
Yes.
I need the attachment, whatever goes on this stuff.
Putting around the crossmember.
This always, I remember, you know, the first thing that struck me about rallying in the service part is just how calm anyone working on a rally car is. It doesn't help to get panicked, to get stressed.
Can you take instructions here?
I'll send your picture. I'll send your picture.
Scott just checking the road book, checking the times. Elvin there asking for clarification from the engineer saying, I'll send you a picture.
So it looks like he's taken 2 different hose clamps there and connecting them together. So he might be creating a larger hose clamp basically to get it around that axle boot, because they have a couple different clamps. But if that boot has come separated, you know, sometimes you can mitigate and lower the amount of gearbox oil that you're losing by keeping that boot on there. So if that boot's separated, they need to clamp it back on to at least slow that bleed. But it doesn't seem like it's gushing that much gearbox oil, just the axle grease seems to be thrown around there.
Great insights from Brento there. Someone else that understands a little bit more technically than I do. So what they also have on these cars is they do have manuals. It's a bit like an airline pilot has his book of checklists. You know, if they have issues in an aircraft, you have checklists for every single issue. They have a similar kind of book in these rally cars where, you know, they have pictures, they have diagrams. They don't need it right now because Elvin knows exactly what he's doing. But most of these Rally 1 cars will have some kind of, you know, manual with pictures of the various parts, how you take out the bolts, how you replace them. You know, it's basically a checklist. It's a checklist for problems that you go through when you've got issues, to identify what the issue is and then how you will go about repairing that issue.
You've got the snips there, Scott. Have you kept them? Keep all them.
As Brento was saying, there's not much oil leaking there, but that can be one of 2 things, as Brenton identified. Either they've lost it all, or there's not an awful lot of a leak in there.
No charge.
Taking a peek under there, you can definitely see that the axle boot on one end at least is completely shredded and kind of hanging down. I'll get a shot of that here.
There we go. I got you, just behind the hub there. Yeah. Wow. So what would cause that, Brento? Is that an impact, or could it be a number of things?
Yeah, you know, a number of things. You could catch a rock just at the right angle and it could shred that boot. The axle could break partially or entirely and rip that boot in half. And that's what we're seeing, that sticky grease with inside the wheel well there. I'll zoom in here, you can see it's kind of sticky. That's the axle grease itself, but then what we're seeing underneath is gearbox oil. So it's 2 different oil
systems
that we're seeing here that are affected.
So there we go, folks. The car is now down off the jacks. They have used just about all the time that they have in hand. 30 Ks of on Emporia to come. You know, this is critical. We're at a critical point in the season in the championship. Oyt Tanak is out. You know, Thierry Neuville is the man that'll be looking at these issues saying, ooh, you know, it's all coming to me again. But Elvin knows how critical this is to get going. Saturday points. If he can get through and manage that time loss through on Emporia stage, get back to service, it looks like a very fixable problem if you've got the tools and the engineers, Brento.
Yeah, this would be a simple fix. You know, they could have this axle swapped out in 15 minutes. I'm sure they could do the gearbox in 20, if not less. So, you know, this is a very quick fix for them.
There we go. Elvin Evans heading in to stage 13 of the rally. We will keep a very close eye on whether they make it to the start. I'm sure they will. B, how much time is he going to hemorrhage in that stage? He is looking at Saturday points. He's looking at salvaging something for this year's championship. This could be a critical moment in this year's championship fight.